Oh, I wasn't recording. I have several videos that I've just been watching on desalinization water, ocean waters, but I want to pull it back to a couple different places like Australia and places that have desert climates. Right? Let's play this.
Plant, an animal, or a person is inconceivable. Ironically, despite the huge volumes of water on the planet, access to fresh water is becoming increasingly difficult every year. Partly, desalination plants are designed to solve this problem, but existing plants pollute nature and consume too much electricity. And only recently has a new technology of seawater desalination emerged that can change the world. According to experts, the volume of renewable fresh water is estimated at 40,000 cubic kilometers or 16 billion standard pools. Of this volume, mankind takes only 10% and consumes only 5% of water. Where do the problems with drinking water come from then? It's all about the uneven distribution of this life-giving moisture. Most of all, it is concentrated in the Latin America region, almost 30% of the world's reserves, and in Asia, where another 25% are located. In Africa and South Asia, where more than 3 billion people live, access to drinking water is seriously hampered by the lack of infrastructure for the extraction and distribution of such a valuable resource. But worst of all are the countries from the Arabian Peninsula, where there are huge deposits of oil, but practically no fresh water. Therefore, it is not surprising that it is there that the world's largest seawater desalination plants are concentrated. Thus, in Kuwait, more than 254 million cubic meters of water are desalinated annually. More than 889 gigawatt hours is spent on this, which makes this resource quite expensive in the country and the region. The absence of large rivers and lakes exacerbates the problem with drinking water. If not for oil revenues, it is unlikely that Kuwait would have been able to provide its entire population with a much-needed resource. Israel is another example. One of the largest desalination plants, Sorek, is located 15 kilometers from Tel Aviv. Using reverse osmosis technology, the unit collects seawater and passes it under pressure through a semi-permeable membrane, making it suitable for everyday use. Sorek's capacity is 624,000 cubic meters of water per day. However, there are plans to build a second Sorek 2 unit with a capacity of 548,000 cubic meters per day. A larger desalination plant is being built in the UAE. Located near the town of Al Quwain, the plant will overtake its Israeli rival in reverse osmosis technology, with a capacity of 682,000 cubic meters of water per day. The work is expected to begin in the fall of 2022. The nearly $800 million project is being built by the Gajuba Group International Engineering Chinese company. However, Saudi Arabia has the most problems with water. Having a large territory with many deserts, scorching sun, and a small number of rivers and reservoirs, the country is doomed to carefully build its strategy of providing water to the population and economy. Fortunately, with its money and scientists, Saudi Arabia has been able to implement several plans to tackle this problem. And the construction of the innovative city of Neom should be the apogee of the whole strategy. The news of the creation of a fundamentally new city of Neom was announced by Prince Mohammed bin Salman in 2017. The city named New Future should become the first in the world in terms of the introduction of innovative technologies in all sectors: energy, education, manufacturing, sports, food, and of course, water. The territory of the city complex will be an area of 26,500 square kilometers in the northwest of the country, bordering Egypt, Jordan, and the Red Sea. 2/3 of the land allocated will not be urbanized. This is done so that nature is just a 5-minute drive from the metropolis. The prince also promised that Neom will be independent of the existing state system and the energy will be fully renewable. Currently, active work is underway on planning the city.
So the running theme through a lot of these different desalinization plants is that they're using wind power and they're using solar power, and they're making it very eco-friendly for the wildlife, to where that the wildlife is, they're not getting harmed from these technologies. I want to go play back a couple more of these videos, but it has a lot to do with being smart about. We're living in a time and era where people have to be more conscious about not just how much money they can make from this technology, but also about how it affects wildlife, and how it affects the globe, and how it affects populations of communities of people. Before, when certain technologies or certain things like coal mining and all, they weren't thinking about the ill effects of a lot of these different power sources that they were creating. Now we're very conscious about how to live in harmony with the earth, right? Scientists are more conscious about how to go about getting the needs met of different populaces and civilization groups without harming the natural realm of the environments around them. So let me continue.
Initial construction and attracting specialists. The estimated cost of the project is $500 billion, which has already been allocated by the government. The first part of the work is planned to be completed by 2025, and by 2030, the prince hopes that it will already be home to 1 million people. However, there remains a problem with access to drinking water. Saudi Arabia is home to 4 of the 10 largest desalination plants, with capacities ranging from 600,000 to 1 million cubic meters of water, which provides 50% of the population's needs. The plants mainly use classic distillation technologies, the conversion of water into steam, which is then condensed back into pure water. The disadvantage of such technologies is the large electricity demand. Thus, the largest installation in the company requires 2,400 megawatts of installed capacity, which is equal to 2 blocks of a nuclear power plant. There is also an environmental problem. For every liter of clean water, there are 1.5 liters of brine, a contaminated liquid with a high concentration of salts and minerals. If we do not carry out the process of its disposal, then this concentrate is capable of poisoning rivers, lakes, and even seas, destroying all living things. But it is not in vain that NEOM set itself the goal of using innovative technologies in all sectors. NEOM's water solution company has found its own approach to seawater desalination, which in the future could completely change the Arabian Peninsula and then the world. The technology that is proposed to be used in NEOM, like everything ingenious, is quite simple and witty. Engineers proposed to build huge spherical structures where seawater would be supplied. Solar concentrators placed around the sphere will capture the sun's rays and direct them to the dome heating it. The hot dome will vaporize the water, which will then be extracted and condensed into a usable resource. In this case, the remaining salt concentrate will be extracted and processed to obtain useful substances such as lithium. The prototype of such an installation is the Sun Solar Complex in Uzbekistan. Launched in 1987, the solar oven was able to raise the temperature in the process tower to 3,000 degrees Celsius in just a few seconds. At the same time, the operation of the tower is completely harmless to nature, and the temperature level can be easily changed by deflecting part of the mirror concentrates to the side. However,
So they were saying that the brine that is the byproduct of this desalinization, they're saying that they can actually convert it, or it can be converted into lithium. Isn't lithium in batteries? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
The project itself is completely research and does not provide commercial benefits. By creatively refining this idea, Saudi Arabia was able to come up with more beneficial applications. For the city of NEOM, this technology is of paramount importance. By providing the population with clean drinking water free from harmful emissions, NEOM's water solution company looks further. The units provide an opportunity to obtain environmentally friendly hydrogen, which is so necessary for industry and oil refining. A variety of salts and minerals from the brine will be used to create a nutrient mixture that will be used in hydroponics. An example of such high-tech farms of the future is already being implemented in full force in Singapore. If the NEOM project succeeds, we will have a chance to slightly change the global problem of drinking water for the better. Let's hope and wait.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me try to find the other video, because the other video was extremely interesting. Very, very interesting. Let me see. Just a moment.
friends would walk up to me and just be like, "What the f is in your mug?" And I would just tell them.
Okay.
Water is an essential part of our lives. We need it to work, play, and survive. The impacts of climate change have created a significant challenge to traditional sources of fresh water across our planet, none more so than here in Western Australia. Rainfall and the subsequent runoff into our dams has decreased significantly, whilst the steady growth in our population has placed huge demand on other water sources such as groundwater. Western Australians have worked hard and addressed part of this challenge by being more water-wise, but we still need to secure stable, long-term drinking water supplies for Perth and beyond. At Water Corporation, we had to start thinking differently. As it turns out, we had a solution lapping on our doorstep all along the Indian Ocean. This huge source of water runs right along our coastline, but obviously is too salty to use in most applications, especially drinking water. To solve this problem, our salty seawater must undergo a complex system of simple processes to make it into a viable drinking water source, and that brings us here. This is a Southern Seawater Desalination Plant, one of Western Australia's large-scale seawater desalination plants located near Binningup. Water Corporation is at the forefront of desalination, having used the process since 2006. Collectively, our desalination plants have the capacity to supply almost half of Perth's drinking water, which makes them pretty essential to life here in Western Australia. As you've probably guessed, these plants convert salty seawater into drinkable, precious H2O. But how exactly does this process work? At the Southern Seawater Desalination Plant, there are 5 main stages: seawater intake, screening, ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, and finally, water treatment. The journey starts 500 meters out to sea, with 2 8-meter-high intake towers. At this point, the ocean is 12 meters deep. The seawater flows via gravity through 2 2.4-meter-wide pipes to the wet well 10 meters below sea.
So this is what I'm thinking. Hold on. Let me see. So you see it sticking up here, right? This is where the intake position is right here. What if the intake was under here? You had rocks, right? Or big, like boulders that's covering the intake thing. She's going to tell you later that that it's so slowly done that the fish don't get caught in this little thing. But what if it was down below sea level, right? Below on the floor of the sea, and it was taking in this water, and you had the rocks that prevented a lot of the sea life from getting caught. Could that be done? Is that a possibility? Is that viable? Anyways, this is just thoughts I'm having.
Level where we start the first process. The intake flow is very slow, which allows fish and marine life to easily swim away. The seawater then passes through screens that filter out seaweed and other ocean debris. Once the seawater has been screened, things get a little bit more high-tech. Introducing ultrafiltration. The ultrafiltration process involves pumping seawater through a series of filters like these. The filters consist of more than 7,000 tiny straws with holes that are 700 times smaller than a human hair. So small, in fact, they can reject viruses and bacteria. Now for the super high-tech section, reverse osmosis or RO. This part of the process requires extremely high pressure. Previously, we were at approximately 3 bar. We need to get the pressure up to 57 bar. How much is 57 bar? Well, it would push a column of water more than 570 meters vertically up into the air. Along with high pressure pumps, we use regenerated pressure energy from the RO process to help generate the 57 bar. It all happens inside these energy recovery devices, which work by capturing the hydraulic energy from the high pressure RO reject stream and
So they're using hydraulic power that's already in the plant, converting the power back into the plant from the hydraulics. So it's like it's a two-way system. It's like it's producing the water, but it's also producing power to power the plant.
this energy to the low pressure seawater. The seawater inside the rotor. The seawater leaves the device at high pressure and the RO reject at low pressure. If you're one of the small number of viewers that understood all that, congratulations. For the rest of us, it simply means we recover and reuse most of the energy in a very clever way. It's this device alone that makes desalination a viable option. Now that the pressure is high enough, the water can pass through the reverse osmosis racks. There are 16 RO racks in the plant, each with 244 vessels that contain 7 membranes. Each membrane is about 440 square feet and consists of layers that are spiral wound. So it's a little bit like a highly compact lasagna. This gives us the capacity to output around 305 million liters of water every day, or about 122 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Once the water has passed through the reverse osmosis process, we encounter a pretty unusual circumstance. The water flowing through here is almost 100% pure H2O, so pure that it's not suitable to drink just yet. Similar to the way we treat traditional water sources like groundwater, we need to treat the water with minerals and disinfect to stabilize it and make it safe for drinking. As with all aspects of the desalination process, the water is carefully monitored and the treatment levels are adjusted.
Okay, that's the part I didn't understand. It's 100% pure drinking water, but you can't drink it just yet. I get that you have to put certain minerals back into water because your body needs those minerals. It's part of your, what is it called? Homeostasis. It's part of your homeostasis. You need salts and minerals in order to balance your body. So I get that part, but certain things that like, so it filters out every single contaminant. This is what I'm trying to understand.
To ensure consistent water quality. The water quality monitoring and movement is undertaken by our specialist plant controllers. You can tell they're doing a very important job based on the number of screens they have in front of them. So now the water is clean, clear, and ready to drink, but how does it make its way to our taps? This is the main pipe where the drinking water leaves the plant and heads either directly into the integrated water supply or into dam storage for future use. Through Water Corporation's connected systems and to assist in ensuring water for all, desalinated seawater reaches as far away as Kalgoorlie. Desalination plants require a lot of resources such as energy, and we're committed to working with industry, government, and the community to develop innovative ways to further minimize our environmental footprint. To make our desalination plants more sustainable, we partnered with energy suppliers to help offset our energy use. These partnerships resulted in the construction of large-scale wind and solar farms in Western Australia. We also continue to embrace new technology and efficiencies throughout the plant, such as the energy recovery devices. But we've gone beyond just renewable power sources and energy recovery devices to minimize our impact. We've really thought about the finer details too. Most of the plant was constructed on a disused limestone quarry. The layout was carefully designed to minimize native bush clearing, including the beautiful tuat trees. This means we can operate in harmony with our environment. We have regular visitors such as kangaroos, bandicoots, and a range of bird life, including black cockatoos and blue fairy wrens. And the dedicated possum corridor allows our little furry neighbors safe passage through the area. We also have solar panels which power our administration building, but my favorite touch is cruising around the site under pure green pedal power. Desalination has certainly been a game changer for the future of our water supply, and there are plans to further increase the network. Does that mean we can take those long showers and flood our gardens with endless sprinkler hours? Absolutely not. Clean, fresh drinking water is a precious, limited resource, and we must treat it accordingly by being water-wise at all times. While we are confident that our water supply needs are secured well into the future,
So I just want to say something. This was a great video. I just want to say something. I think they said that the majority of the what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, so majority of the forests are in South America. They provide how much oxygen to the globe, right? And in turn, that oxygen balances out, and it creates a barrier for the ozone layer. So basically, if we had the water that we needed in certain areas, building up rainforests more than just in South America, and restructuring the ecosystems that used to have where the rainforests were cut down and reestablishing those rainforests, wouldn't that be a win-win when it comes to global warming? Wouldn't that be a win for a barrier, a good ozone layer barrier, to prevent the earth from heating up excessively, balancing back the earth? I feel like there's a way to get to where we need to be to have abundance, basically abundance when it comes to food production, water, because water, Native Americans have always been saying water is life, water is life. Well, water is life. So why are we so anti doing desalinization and making technology work for the whole of humanity? Why are we so against that? Why are we against being able to feed people and preventing droughts from killing crops and not being able to feed people or give them water or producing, like, there's a way to take these resources that are already in the globe and work with Mother Nature, work with the natural realm, and still be sustainable for humans. It can be done.
we must all look after our most precious resource today. To learn more about our water world, visit our website.
Very interesting video.